How's it going, everyone? This is DoctorJefe, and welcome to my Crusader Kings 3 tutorial on Renown and Legacies. The outline for this video is we're going to be looking at how you can gain Renown to increase your level of Splendor, what you can spend that banked Renown on, including Legacies, and finally, how to gain lots of Renown and looking at an example of a mid-game dynasty that I've been playing. So before you ask how I got over 100,000 Renown in the year 1066, I used debug mode to grant the Seljuks this much Renown. Why? Because I want us to be able to unlock every legacy and see the beautiful artwork beneath. Now, a disclaimer about debug mode. Do not load your Iron Man saves if you have debug mode enabled. Also, shout out to the Iron Workshop. I'll post a link to their video if you want to enable debug mode yourself. Again, do not load those Iron Man saves if you care about achievements. If you load them in debug mode, they will no longer be Iron Man, and you'll lose out on basically earning those achievements if you care about them. So, disclaimer over. Let's look now at those levels of Splendor. So, Renown is similar to Piety and Prestige, where you earn it a certain amount per month, and it gains you progress towards the next level. However, you can also spend it, and it won't take away any of your progress towards the next level. So looking at the levels of Splendor, they all follow the same basic format, where your children will be born with a certain amount of prestige, marrying into the dynasty will give a certain amount of prestige, and you'll gain a maximum long reign opinion. Now, starting off at base origins, you get 0 prestige for your children, marrying into your dynasty is minus 100, and only plus 5 long reign opinion. This will increase by 100 every level of Splendor increase, and the long reign opinion will also go up by plus 5. Finally, once you reach Legendary, your children will be born with 1,000 prestige. Marrying into your dynasty will give you plus 900 prestige, and rulers will gain a maximum of plus 55 long reign opinion. Now, if your ruler can stay alive for 55 years, this opinion is huge. Imagine doing tyranny, throwing your subjects in prison, or revoking their lands. This will just offset all of that. Now that we've looked at the levels of Splendor, let's see what we can spend Renown on. And before we get to those legacy trees, let's look at the other ways we can spend Renown on our dynasty members. One of the ways is that if we want to get a claim. So typically, you're not going to want to claim titles of people inside your close family or your vassals. However, say someone from your dynasty gets out, maybe into Cumania or the Byzantine Empire, and you want to take that land for yourself. You're a little bit greedy. Give me your land. It doesn't belong to you. You can click the claim title. It'll cost you 150 Renown. That doesn't look like much considering you're starting with 100,000, but considering you only gain 3 Renown a month, that's going to take about 50 months or approximately 4 years of Renown just to claim a title. Another way that we can use Renown is to disinherit people in our family. So say we have a partition succession law, and we just don't want this kid to gain these lands. We don't like them. You don't get any lands. You messed up as a son. You can right click on them, go under the hostile tab, 2 more, disinherit. This removes them from the line of succession. It's going to cost you prestige and Renown. If we look at our main son, we can actually see that the amount of Renown that the amount of prestige that it costs, the amount of Renown prestige and Renown will go up if it's our main heir. However, if we want to disinherit some other secondary heir, it's going to cost 300 prestige, 150 Renown for this kid. Bye. The third thing that we can use our Renown for, besides legacies, is to denounce them. So denouncing a child will cause them to have a imprisonment cause on them. So basically, any member of our dynasty, including our dynasty head, so us, we will gain a reason to imprison them. I mean, that's good if you don't want to gain tyranny for imprisoning perhaps your annoying brother. Now, let's get into the meat of Renown, the legacies. So, the amount of renown that you need for the basic level of any legacy is going to be 1,000. And as you go up each tier, it's going to cost 1,000 more. For finally, the highest tier is 5,000. So say you want to unlock a whole Dynasty Legacy line. It's going to cost 15,000 renown. And as you can see, there's 7 different lines that you can go down. So 15,000 times 7, 105,000 renown to unlock all the legacies. Now say you make 20 renown a month, which is a lot more than what the head of the Seljuk dynasty is making right now, but it is possible. If you make 20 renown a month, it'll take 5,250 months to unlock all the legacies, or approximately 437 years. Now, given that you can start at 866 and the game ends in 1450-ish, that does give you enough time to unlock all the legacies if that's what you're looking for. Sounds pretty difficult, and I'm not sure it's what you want to do. There's not really an achievement for it. The only achievement is if you unlock one full line, but hey, it is possible. Now, to unlock the legacies, if you get enough renown, you'll have a pop-up up here at the top. The other way is to go down into your Dynasty tab, which will be down next to your character portrait. This pop-up I've seen occurs basically once you have enough to unlock a line. So at 1,000 you'll get a pop-up, but then I see that it doesn't matter that you still have 1,000 to get maybe another line. It'll pop up again at 2,000. Now say you lose the Dynasty head for whatever reason. Maybe your brother usurped you and now you're just living out as a single count. Don't worry, they won't spend it randomly. They will continue the line that you've already bought. So let's look at these legacies a little bit more in depth. There's 5 legacies that mostly represent the 5 skills that you have. So warfare goes to martial. Law, interestingly, it uses the diplomacy symbol, but it's actually more about stewardship. Guile is about intrigue. Erudition is about learning. Glory is about diplomacy. And there's 2 more, blood and kin, which are slightly different. So let's start off with these 5 Dynasty legacies that respond to the 5 traits. Warfare. So as we unlock them, we're going to get a nice little pop-up. Let's try and ignore it for a little bit. Increases all of your members' Dynasty prowess by 2 and the knight effectiveness by plus 15%. Pretty strong. Generational belligerence causes Belli down by 20%. So this means it'll cost less prestige to go to war. Squire traditions, monthly martial experience plus 10%. So you'll see that this is the same. You'll gain plus 10% for that lifestyle trait in these 5 legacies that go with the 5 traits. Inherited tactics, advantage plus 5, and private army. So one thing I forgot to mention is that, you look at this end legacy, it's 5,000. That means you could unlock 5 other legacies for the cost of just this one. However, these final legacies in the line are so strong. In fact, they make it worth getting perhaps, weaker legacies along the way. So private army, max number of men-at-arms regiments plus 1. That's pretty good, but the main thing is this House Guard men-at-arms. So look at them. 47 attack, 35 defense, 24 screen. Creation cost, only 50 gold. Maintenance, when they're raised, 0.8 a month, and unraised is no cost. These are basically free men-at-arms when they're not raised. Now let's go out and compare them to other men-at-arms that you can create. So I've unlocked all the men-at-arms, again, using that debug mode, and compared to, say, your normal armored footmen, these house guards have more attack, more defense, and they're cheaper. They cost less in maintenance, and they have no unraised maintenance. They're really, really good and really strong if a martial legacy is what you want to go for. Now look at this beautiful picture of this army and their palisades. You got some trebuchets in the background. Very, very nice. I really do enjoy how they've created this renown aspect in CK3. Now let's look at law. So mostly fair. Popular opinion goes up. So popular opinion is the opinion of the people in the counties that you own. So if we look here, you know, we get -10 for foreign culture group, -15 for some wrong religion, but we're getting +5. This will help keep popular uprisings from occurring, and while they aren't super threatening, they are kind of annoying to put down. The next level, Faithful Magistrates, increases your control growth by 0.2 per month. Very useful if you're conquering places, or there's a lot of different reasons why control goes down, and now you don't have to keep putting your marshal in different areas to increase control. Monthly Stewardship Lifestyle up by 10%, not much to say there. Powerful Vassal Opinion +5. Very useful. Powerful vassals are usually the ones who are revolting the most, getting into factions, causing the most damage to you. Pretty useful 4th tier. Home Estates Domain Limit +1. Now, I find this kind of the weakest of the 5th tier legacies, just because, I mean, Domain Limit is useful, but when you're a huge emperor, it's not really your main domain that's giving you a lot of money and levies. And because you're going to be stuck in partition succession style for a long time, having a huge domain doesn't really matter since it's going to be split among all your sons later. As you unlock all of the Stewardship Dynasty Legacy, you get this beautiful view of the ruler just looking out over his domain. All that the sun touches is yours. Alright, let's look at the Guile Legacies. Dread Gain up 20%. I mean, this is great if you're, you know, going down the torturer lifestyle path, you know, revoking titles, you just want to be a super dreadful person. It works out. If you're not playing that way, it's not a great use of your 1000 Renown. Long Reach, Hostile Scheme Success Chance up by 10. Hey, very good if you want to murder people. Natural Schemers, Intrigue goes up by 10%. Venial Monthly Tyranny down by 0.05. I mean, this seems to go well with the Dread game. Synergize as well, although that 0.05 isn't a lot, but say you're revoking a lot of titles or imprisoning a lot of people, could be very beneficial over a long term. Family Connections, major chance to prevent 1 murder against each dynasty member. This seems very strong. I haven't unlocked it for my dynasty, but I've been trying to murder the Carlings, and they had this unlocked, and it is very annoying. It requires you to restart the murder scheme, you know, spend another year trying to murder people. Very, very annoying to play against, and seems pretty strong, perhaps, if, you know, there's people in your dynasty who just keep getting targeted. We'll skip Blood and we'll go down to Learning and Diplomacy Legacies first. So Vibrant Court, Courtier and Guest Opinion +10. Better guests will be attracted. Seems okay. Rulership Monthly Piety +10%. Very strong if you're doing a lot of holy wars, or perhaps you want to get to the highest level of the piety. You know, get all the way to that religious icon level. Oh, and we forgot to talk about this. Look at this beautiful picture of these archers setting up for their assassination. It really goes well with the Guile dynasty. Treasure Knowledge, Lifestyle Experience up 10%. True Believers, Same Faith Opinion +3. I mean, it doesn't seem that strong considering that being a pilgrim gives you +5, but okay. Bureaucrats, Base Progress and Counselor Skill Impact on Counselor Tasks +10%. That seems pretty strong. Making each of your counselors +10% better seems really good. Again, these level 5 unlocks are... it makes the whole rest of your legacy worth it. And look at this. Just all these scholars in this huge library. Very, very beautiful looking. Desirable Match, Marriage up by +30. Similar to like the Gallant Path. Renown's Name, Prestige up 10%. So similar to what you're getting with the Piety in the Erudition Dynasty line. Earning Respect, Monthly Diplomacy up 10%. Assertive Rulers, Short Reign Duration -20. Now this seems very nice. Short reign short reign gives a negative opinion to all your vassals. And I find that most of the rebellions, most of your hardest time as a ruler is, becoming the new ruler, taking over when the old ruler dies. So having a shorter reign duration seems really strong. And righteousness, general opinion plus 10. Everyone, every single character will have plus 10 opinion. That's amazing. Your vassals, other rulers. The only thing it doesn't change is the county opinion, which is changed here in the mostly affair. But, I mean, that's awesome. Alright, now let's look at those last two dynasty lines. Noble veins, chance of inheriting good congenital traits. So congenital traits, these are traits like robust, handsome, genius, things that can be passed on in your lineage, basically through your DNA to your children. So you can inherit good congenital traits plus 30 and chances of new congenital traits showing up plus 30%. This is great if you want to have a strong bloodline. Oh right, I forgot to talk about this view. Look at all these courtiers coming to pay homage to their king. I mean, this is just beautiful. Convergent blood, chance of reinforcing congenital traits. So reinforcing congenital traits means that, say you have the quick trait, your spouse has the quick trait, your children will have the quick trait, and reinforcing it means that it could go up to intelligence. So instead of +1 to all skills, it can get +3, or intelligent to genius, +3 to +5. Really strong. Resilient bloodline, chance of inheriting bad congenital traits -30, chance of new bad congenital traits -30. So I've unlocked this line, and I've married a lot of cousins to other cousins to try and, increase their traits. Have not seen any inbred cousins yet, which is, I assume, all thanks to this dynasty line. Architected ancestry, select a congenital trait to become more common in the dynasty. So this is one of the reasons I wanted debug mode on, because once you click that, you get to choose which one it is. Now you don't get to choose genius or handsome or Herculean, but you get to choose the level 1, and this makes it more common to show up in all dynasty members. Very interestingly is that you can also choose these quote-unquote negative traits. So you can choose albino. Say you want to have a dynasty of albino Seljuks. That's pretty cool. Or giants. You get a minor penalty to health, but look at your prowess. Dwarf? Or even scaly. So we'll just choose comely. And then octogenarians. Another great, top tier legacy. Life expectancy plus 5 years. This will allow you to take full benefit of that level of splendor, plus 55 long reign opinion. And having your rulers live so long, it means you can just, do more without fear. You want to revoke some titles, rearrange the kingdom, much easier to do with an extra 5 years added onto your life. Then once you unlock it all, you get this wonderful picture of everyone coming to the gigantic tree, the family tree. Everyone pays homage to this huge tree that has given them all strength. Finally, looking at the kin dynasty line. Bounteous loins, fertility plus 10%. Now, we haven't talked about how you earn renown, but it is based off of your living members. So this kind of synergizes well. More kids means more living members, which means more renown, which can, feed forward. Studious youth. Dynasty members get better education traits. So education is basically determines what level you'll be. Here you see education trait. Highest is 4-star. So instead of getting, some 2-star or, well, none of these guys are 2-star. But instead of getting some 2-star level children, they'll be 3 or 4-star, which means they earn more martial or more lifestyle experience in whatever they're educated in, as well as gaining a higher bonus to that skill. Constant care, spouse opinion goes up, and fewer complications during pregnancy. Doesn't seem that huge of a bonus, but, like I said, you're always trying to get to that final one. Close bonds, dynasty opinion plus 5, and personal scheme plus 30% against dynasty members. Now, not hostile scheme. This doesn't allow you to murder your brother, but perhaps you want to sway him to your side. He's a little bit upset at you. This makes it easier to sway them. Finally, graceful aging. No prowess lost from age, and skills increase with age. So now, as you're getting older, your ruler can be out there leading on the battle. Say he's a super strong martial guy. He can lead until the day he dies. And not only can he lead, he's going to get better at leading as he gets older. It's really amazing, and it seems to synergize well with octogenarians. Finally, you unlock this picture of you and all your family members, everyone having a great time at this feast. Everyone loves you. Alright, so we looked at how we can spend our renown. Now let's talk about how we can earn renown. So we're going to load this Alfred of Wessex dynasty that I've been playing, and we'll look at how we earn renown. So you get 0.02 based off of your living members. So you can get 405 living members, get +8 per month. Emperor level titles. So +2 per emperor, +1 per king, +0.5 per duke, and +0.25 per count. Now, the key for this is that they have to be independent from you. So you can't just be an emperor and have like 10 kings of your dynasty underneath you. You're still just getting +2 for your emperorship. Marriage is also a way you can gain renown. So you gain, basically it's a 0.8 modifier. So 0.8 for king, 1.6 for emperors, 0.4 for dukes, 0.2 for counts, and 0.1 for barons. So while barons don't seem to give you renown, usually you don't have an independent baron. They're always going to be under a count. But by marriage, you can give yourself an extra little bonus. So why not marry some people off to some barons if you have no other use for them? Now, how can we, if this is how we gain renown, how can we try and increase these numbers as much as possible? So, having a very fertile dynasty, which you can definitely get through, making your characters more comely. That increases fertility. You could also choose the legacy to increase fertility. That will, increase the amount of children that each of your dynasty members are having. However, I do usually find that unless they're children of landed dynasty members, then the game kind of like forgets about them. It doesn't, spend processing power marrying off and having children for like people who are just kind of like going to go nowhere and be nothing. So then it's important to, as you expand, keep giving lands to members of your dynasty so that, their children will keep having children and increasing the number of living dynasty members. Now, another thing that you want to do is marry people off to other countries. So you can get, king by marriage. So marrying off, your sister to kings or emperors, any way you can do it. So looking at Francia, how did, we get to become the emperor of France? Was I married off my second daughter matrilineally, oh my goodness, what a word, to the emperor of France, and then murdered his first son. So that way, the children of my daughter and his second son then became the leaders of Francia, the empire. So other ways you can do it is to, suppose if you're becoming a huge empire, would be to then grant kingdoms to dynasty members and then grants them independence. If they're, off in Ireland, or, maybe not under your main empire, but say they were off in Norway and you had already conquered all these lands, there's very little chance that someone's going to come and invade them. They'll probably stay king for a long time. So that's the video on Renown. It's kind of long. I feel like I covered a bunch of different things. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that it helps you on your way towards becoming a legendary dynasty. If I forgot any ways, or perhaps your favorite technique for gaining lots of renown, please let me know in the comments below. Hope you enjoy this video and the game, And as always, please do remember to take care of yourself.